Possibility for me to continue to try to take the motor out myself. Some things have come up with the difficulty, the snow.
Good news, New England. You afford the fresh shipments of their award-winning SUV lineup in stock for immediate delivery. Get your hands on any new
All right. Good evening. I'd like to open the March 21st meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. We'll take a roll call. Haley.
Here.
Jim.
Did you say Jim?
Yes.
Yes, here. I'm sorry, I was reading.
Ken.
Here.
Paul.
Yes, here.
Peter.
Here.
Teresa.
Here.
All right. All right, first up is the approval of the minutes from March 7th. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those, or does anybody have any discussion, comments or questions or corrections?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
Just a continuation of the most disgusting.
All right, first up is DEP 313620. That's 100 Hemlock Road. Northeast Metro Regional Vocational School, and the topic tonight is a review of stormwater. Is the applicant here?
We are, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
So this is Dave Conway from Niche Engineering. Thanks for having us tonight. Since we last met, we have received comments from BSC regarding some wetland comments, which we could actually run through tonight if the board desires. Our potential responses, or just to make sure we get your thoughts on maybe specifics of what the comments are looking for. We have submitted a snow storage plan and snow management plan, which I didn't know if folks, that was submitted a couple weeks ago. I know there's a comment that came back on that, and we can discuss that or just limit it to the comment. And then we received some stormwater comments last week from your engineering department, which is kind of what we thought we might run through. A lot of the comments have been addressed. A lot of the remaining comments we feel like we can fairly easily address. And then there's a group of comments which we met with your engineering group today to kind of make sure we understood their thinking on the comments, so we can proceed in a direction. So I don't want to leave it wide open, but for some structure, we could walk through the response memo if that helps.
yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I know there have been a lot of comments back and forth, and there's been a lot of work between Bill Renault and yourselves, and there's been a lot of questions and letters from abutters and others that have been going back and forth. So let's start, I guess, with the, as you mentioned, the comments with town engineer.
Sure. So let me share my screen.
Go ahead.
So this is our response to Bill's comments. Using this one, and I have Bill's letter too if we want to pull it up. But we've eliminated comments that he's marked as addressed. So here we kind of have the outstanding ones. Again, I'll run through them quickly. And also so the numbers aren't sequential. We've eliminated the numbers that have been addressed. So starting with 2, they're looking for some more information, or just to us to document the information for the outlet pipe of Wetland Series 1. We will add that to the plans. We included that in all our calculations. It's just something that we'll physically include that location, the location of that pipe and its invert on the plans. But all the calculations were run, and the results of those calculations were done using that as-built information for that existing outlet.
Hey, David, question on that.
Yep.
I've seen that pipe mentioned as a 12-inch, and I've also seen it as a 18-inch. What is the diameter of that pipe?
And I will throw that to Paige.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we based it off of the record drawing that we received from the engineering department. So I'd have to double check what the record drawing says.
Okay,
We moved through. We can look into the stormwater report. It would just be what we have modeled in there.
okay.
And also, so moving on to the next one, in what we have also is the original comments are in the standard text. Our initial response was in blue. Supplemental responses are bold, and then our responses are in green. So we're running out of color. So we're hoping to kind of wrap this up soon. But the question is about so Wetland Series 6 and Wetland Series 7, which are down by, if I share, let me share something else real quick so people can see. This is Wetland Series 6. This is Wetland Series 7. There's a large diameter culvert pipe actually that connects these two. That's not currently shown on the plan. We are adding that to the plan, and then we will incorporate that culvert into our calculations. There won't be an effect on the calculations because for each of these wetlands we used as a design point to not impact them. But we'll add that additional culvert, that existing culvert, which is going to remain, onto the plans, field locate it, show it so it's there. It's something we're aware of. It's just didn't make it onto the survey. But it connects these two wetlands.
I looked up the pipe size. It's 12 inches.
Okay, thank you, Paige.
Thanks.
Bob, can I I'm sorry, David, can I just, is it, do you think it makes sense to have Bill respond to each of the points that David is raising? Because he's the one that raised the concerns.
Bill, have you already had a chance to review the responses?
Yeah, we discussed it today. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting today to go over it, to make sure they understand what we're looking for in each of these things. So, I mean, I think the big piece for the first one is that we're looking at no net increase in volume, rate, and flood height at wetland 1 and the pipe. So that's what the comment says. We're also looking to add the elevation of it to confirm that it's consistent with our as-built plans. That's what that's all about.
And just to kind of, I guess, stress a point, the town does require no increase in rate or volume as a requirement.
We do.
Go ahead, David.
All right, let me try to get back to, I'm sorry. Whatever that thing isn't blocking my window. Comment number 7, again, relates to the previous comment. It's just making sure we add that culvert and that it's in the model, it's included in the model. Number 8 is regards to like the sizing of the pipe system of the proposed site system. The backup that we submitted in the last iteration was for a 2-year storm. It was just a printing error. We meant to print the 25-year storm. The conclusions were that we included on the response were relative to the 25-year storm. It's just the program printed the 2-year storm when we submitted we were kind of rushing to get all the materials in and didn't realize the 2-year storm data went in as opposed to the 25. But the proposed drainage system is piping is required, designed for a 25-year storm. with the mitigation to the design for up to the 100-year storm. Comment number 9 is there's a couple of catch basins that in a 100-year storm would see we were going to put a device on them so they don't see any backflows, but without the backflows, they would see a surcharge up just above their grates. We're going to redesign that area so that that doesn't happen, and then those backflows aren't needed. And I'll get into a little bit more. Basically, a lot of these comments end up getting grouped together. There's an area of the site, small area of the site that we're looking to redesign the stormwater on. Just under the direction of some of the additional comments that we got from the engineering department. Comment number 11 relates to the wildlife crossings. People also refer them as the culverts. We're just confirming their size, their height, make sure that complies with what LEC and BSC wants for minimum heights for the wildlife. We've provided sections for those, and we just wanted to double check and make sure we're all on the same page for that. So it was just a comment that they noted the inconsistency, so we just want to make sure that's clear. But the culverts are at a minimum, I believe, 3 feet 3 inches high, which is what BSC wanted, but they're actually, I think, in excess of that. Then these comments, 12, 13, 14, and 15, we're kind of grouping together. This is what we met with, mostly what we talked about with Bill's group this morning. And that relates to and this is the snow storage map, so it's not the actuals, but kind of the design of the stormwater system in this area of the site. There was comments about groundwater, about flows going to some of the smaller wetlands, flows from surface areas that might receive snow treatment going to some of the smaller wetlands, and basically just how the site is being managed. So we're going with using the direction that we got this morning. We're going to redesign the stormwater system in this area to try to address those comments.
Have a lot.
What's going on?
This comment number 18 relates to at the lower end of the site, which is this area down here. We were proposing a dry well with an overflow to kind of manage the water balance to wetland 6. The water that would be coming into that dry well, we were picking up from no surface runoff from anywhere that has a vehicle. Would just be surface runoff from the undisturbed hillside. We wanted to just bring that up. We think we can manage it without adding this dry well and getting these flows over here, but we think it's a better solution, and we're not really it's a good way to kind of get clean water back to the most important wetland resources, which is the potential vernal pools, which this is one of them. So it was something I kind of just wanted to walk through. I know the comment came from Bill's group. I was, I think other people were interested in too, but it's just clean runoff from the hillside. Again, the driveway running up will be curbed, so we're not, this runoff runs down the hill and gets treated. It would be from the undisturbed hillside, getting a portion of it getting collected and discharged in the area, not in the wetland, but adjacent to it. Again, just to kind of make that water balance even closer to what it is today. And we had some additional comments. Really not related to conservation, so I'm not sure if you want me to cover them, but we submitted a truck routing plan, and again, that will kind of work its way through town. We are prepared to submit a blasting plan once we kind of get to that phase. What the town wants to do is up to the town. But the blasting plan will be prepared by the blasting contractor, which is yet to be selected. And then this comment, which kind of relates to the snow, I believe the snow management plan, which was submitted back on March 2nd, was us asking us about evaluating potassium chloride. Now, my research into the de-icing, the potassium chloride only works down to a temperature of 12 degrees Fahrenheit. So it could never be a substitute for all the de-icers. It might be something we could consider, but what I understand is driving the comment, and the understanding is that potassium chloride has the least impact to vegetation, would be that we, in our redesign of this area, the stormwater management in this area, we're going to take any surface flows away from this wetland, which is 5 in a vernal pool, and we're going to work really hard to either eliminate or minimize any discharges to 4 and 3. I don't think we can eliminate them, but I think we can minimize them and direct them elsewhere. And the other materials that we propose as far as a snow management plan, we feel are safe. Using them will come at an expense to the school, but it's also something we checked with the contractor. It's something that they have available. The potassium chloride, I haven't had time to check back with the contractor to see if that's even like available for commercial use here. And I also have to probably do a little bit more research. One of the first things I came up with in looking at that material was might not be the safest thing for animals. But that was from some literature from, I think, a competing de-icing material. So I have to kind of flesh that out a little bit more.
David, what did you say what temperature was good to?
Potassium chloride's good to 12 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right. I know we talked about calcium magnesium acetate, which is good to 17.5, minus 17.5.
I don't have the chart in front of me. I think it might be better. It goes beyond that. And then calcium chloride is good to minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, the calcium magnesium acetate was the chloride-free option.
And we were proposing that around the pedestrian area, kind of like of the school itself.
Okay.
And just so it's been a little bit, but basically we are suggesting that there wouldn't be any sand used on the site except for the steep part of the driveway, and then in the pedestrian areas around the school itself. And that, again, basically this plan was shaped using the guidelines for what MassDOT does around basically the drinking water supplies, most specifically the Cambridge Reservoir and over in Lexington, Concord, Waltham.
Is that it for the comments on the letters from Bill Renault?
That is it for Bill's comments. And then I don't know if you wanted us to kind of quickly walk through the BSC comments that we got from Matt a couple weeks ago as well.
Yeah, I just do want to ask Bill if he has had a chance to fully review these, and does Bill have any additional comments as a result of your responses?
I mean, not at this time, Bob. I mean, at this point, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at, honestly, a resubmittal on a good chunk of it. So at that point, I'm sure, we may have another comment.
Yeah,
I'm not planning on leaving, but that's about it, I think.
All
So,
right, thanks, Bill. I
Yeah.
will ask people to please keep their devices muted unless they're presenting or asking a question. There's been a few devices that have kicked in already, and I've had to mute a few of those. All right, so
Wait, Bob, before you move on, I just have a quick
Yes.
question. Dave, over at wetland 6 and 7, to put that dry well in, do you need to blast any rock out?
We don't believe so. We can double check. That wouldn't be the intent. Like that's not like, that wasn't the idea for that area. Like it was meant to be a smaller intervention.
Right,
If we had to, we'll look into it.
okay.
I wouldn't have proposed it if I thought we had to.
Oh, okay, I just remember looking at that old plan, like 1967 one, I think it was, and it had that area shown as ledge. So I was curious, that might not be correct. I just wanted to ask the question.
I'll look back at it, but the intent was never to like have to like go in there and blast it to put that thing in. I mean,
Right.
that's not the vibe we're going for here. So,
Okay, another quick one. On one of the plans, it looked like it actually flows, the water flows from wetland 6 into that culvert pipe that you're going to add to the plan, and then out 7, kind of making like a U. Is that what it's like in the field? Is that okay?
it goes 6 into the culvert and then to 7.
Out to 7. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
all right, David, you were going to move on to BSC's comments.
Yeah, I was going to kick it over to Andrea. She could walk through, Andrea and Dan, to kind of walk through those.
Okay.
Are you able to put that on the screen, Dave?
Oh, sorry, Dan, I don't have your stuff up. Can you share?
Sure, just it's going to take me a second.
I'm sorry, during that second, can I just ask Rebecca, I thought this is the questions that Matt posed, right? Is that right?
I think what they're going to go over is there was a letter from Matt back on, I think it's February 23rd.
Right. But Matt's not here, right? I thought that was gonna be postponed.
Yeah, Matt is at another meeting, but we can still listen to the comments.
And I think the idea was we kind of would like your input too. Like a lot of Matt's comments really kind of were, we were kind of looking for maybe some specific direction from some of the members on what you might be looking for if you're ready to give it.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
All right, thank
you. Okay, so the comments were regarding additional mitigative measures that can be implemented on the project site. So that's comment 2.1. The second one was related to the invasive species management plan, which you mentioned needs to provide some flexibility. I think this was because at the time of when he did this review, the plan for the rotary was still not finalized. So the original invasive species plan did not account for that. So certainly that's the intention. We'll update all of the invasive species management to match up with the final approved plan set. And the next part is, again, kind of related to the first two. The BSC recommends that the applicant identify additional opportunities for mitigation that benefits wetland functional values focused on portions of the site that are not included in the development program. So this, and then the final, this one we just wanted to address a perpetual mechanism for preventing additional buffer zone impacts. So what I'd like to just pull up is there's a new area that we are willing to kind of take a look at. It's, if you can see it, it's on the far right side of the site. So this is the northeast corner, right adjacent to the Series 8 wetland. And so I'll zoom in, you can see what we're talking about. So what this is the blue line is the wetland line, the yellow line is the riverfront area, and this white dash line is the buffer zone. So the area shaded in green is an area that has, it's probably the greatest density of invasive species on the whole buffer zone on the property. And so what we're proposing is to include that with our overall invasive species management plan for the site. And the area of this area in green is just shy of a half acre, 18,510 square feet. And so just to orient you, so this is the Saugus River down here to the right, and this is the edge of the BVW. So I'll just show you quickly. This is an example of what that area looks like. This is the athletic field and then there's an existing fence. So you can see that all of this dense vegetation is bittersweet. And there's a few native trees kind of mixed in here, but otherwise it's, I'd say 80 to 90% invasive species cover. So, the bittersweet is just draped all over the fences. I'll show you the next photo. This is kind of a close-up view. There's multiflora rose mixed in. This is right next to the river, actually. It's kind of down below. So this goes right up to the wetland edge. Here's another look. You just see how that bittersweet and multiflora rose is right up. You can see the standing water from the marsh next to the Saugus River. And so that's basically what's going on. There's a huge opportunity for improvement. So those photos I was showing are all throughout this area. So some of that's within the riverfront, but all of that there's an existing fence that runs along the athletic field. So what I didn't show, there's bittersweet that goes all along the outer part of this fence as well. So we feel that by managing that and supplementing it with native plantings, that's going to be it's going to be a big benefit to the resource area, and especially how close it is to the Saugus River, which was right off the property here. So that's how we're planning to address those first comments. This next comment, number 2-5, there was a question about the historic wetland impacts, and we did submit a copy of the certificate of compliance. I believe the commission, that was submitted at least a couple months ago, but that just documented that everything that had been outlined in the original order of conditions for the site has been satisfied. So we don't feel there's any response necessary for that one.
And this is last one is more to me, and it's that drainage area that Rebecca just brought up and that outfall. And again, it was the intent is that would be installed. If it does overflow, which we've calculated, it wouldn't overflow into the much larger storms, anything above the 25. That any flow out of it would be below any sort of erosive velocity. We're providing backup for that, but we'll look into see relative to Rebecca's question to make sure that can go in and not cause more problems than it solves.
So Dave, did you want to
have any questions on that?
And we didn't know regarding a couple of those. Two of those comments was about perpetual protections and areas of like supplemental plantings. If there was anything, if any of the commissioners had any specific thoughts on areas, just so we have guidance on that, because it's things we're willing to consider, but not like it's hard to do it in a vacuum.
I know, David, we had talked about plantings along the driveway that weren't necessarily shown on the drawing.
Yeah. So we reviewed the planting plan, and we're working to save a lot of what's there, and then also supplement it with additional plantings. So we feel like the density along the driveway for the supplemental plantings, and in those areas that were actually disturbing is good. Something that we wanted to kind of maybe have the commission consider would be us establishing some sort of like supplemental planting budget, as you know, to understand, so we have kind of money put aside to understand if as construction progresses and we see an area could use some supplemental planting, or maybe even there's something as unforeseen as we lose a tree in an ice storm or something like that, that we have a mechanism to kind of fund that. Again, we would only kind of do it in context with, in consultation with the commission and your agent. And at the end of the project, we don't use all those funds, just basically, make it something that's available to the commission for the tree fund.
This is all caving in, adding about.
I don't know if you guys heard that last part, but the basically just, if we're not able to utilize all those funds, and again, I don't know what that would be. It's just something we start to think about, basically as a way to kind of cover our.
Right, it's on the iPad.
I have no idea. I will remind everybody, please have your phones or computers muted. There are, dialogue cutting in and out during this discussion, and I do keep needing to mute, people's devices. Go ahead, David. Sorry.
So basically, the project would establish a fund for supplemental plantings, which if we don't have the opportunity to use them to either like augment some additional areas that we see during construction, or replace something that maybe some damage that happens naturally during construction, that it would be something that we would just turn over the remainder of the funds to the tree fund.
All right. Does the commission have any questions or comments about anything David just went over? Rebecca, do you have anything at this time?
All right, now, thanks.
Okay. All right, David, what would you like to cover next?
Basically, I think we've covered what we had planned to. As Bill noted, we're going to update the stormwater plans and calculations to finish off his comments. We'll kind of do that in consultation with him to kind of do maybe one last go through. But besides that, and I want my team to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's kind of what we had planned on covering today.
Okay.
Again, just looking for your input on any of these items.
Oh, I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Over by the baseball field, I know Bill and I had talked about this real quick. There's a discharge that is very, very close to the wetland there. Is there a possibility of pulling back that level spreader and that discharge back there, the one from the stormwater management system that's under the baseball field?
We can look into that. It's probably an elevation thing, Rebecca.
Okay.
But we'll look to maximize that distance. Maybe even if it means we pull it farther away, and we have to kind of do a little bit more of a outside of the wetlands intervention into like the grading or something like that. You just want some distance there. I think right now we can look to do that.
Great.
Maybe even relocate it to where the grades are more accommodating.
That'd be great. Thank you.
David, could you bring that part of the plan up just so we can kind of?
Yep. It's going to be at a fairly large scale, but Rebecca is talking about, baseball field, system under the baseball field. Again, this is a storm management plan. It's just the easiest one to kind of, it shows the whole site. It's this outlet here.
Okay.
So we'll look to try to bring it back, maybe even make it a linear one that runs parallel to the wetlands, more of a level spreader, and get some more distance from that wetland.
Dave, I have it up if you want me to show
Oh,
them
could
more
you?
detail. Yeah. Can everyone see that?
There it
Yes.
is.
So here's, this is the system.
Paige, could you zoom out just a bit? Okay. Good. All right. So the feeds to that system are coming from 3 different locations, 3 different pipes feeding.
Correct.
All right. So the catch basins are going into the system, which consists of an isolator row first to capture any your sediment and others.
There's a water quality structure prior to any isolator row if it's exposed to vehicular traffic. And then
Okay.
the isolator row.
What type of water quality? Remind me, please. Is it a swirl type chamber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so the way that this system functions is the catch basins go through these swirl chambers, they make their way into the isolator row. That gives you some additional treatment. And then the chambers themselves will eventually fill. And then, so the discharge to these chambers is above or below the invert. So these chambers fill up and then it overflows, or these chambers just essentially the water passes through them and out?
So think of it as like a slow bathtub. So the outlet is restricted.
Okay,
So it's at the bottom, but it's not free flowing, right?
okay.
Like think of it as a slow drain. And then yeah, the outlet control structure basically has a weir in it to hold the water back.
And the isolator chambers have access points to do maintenance?
Correct. Inspection and maintenance.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, there's no recharge there, is that correct?
Paige, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not.
Yep, the system is lined.
Yep.
Yeah.
Due to the elevation of the bedrock. So we're not infiltrating at this location.
And then the discharge, if you want to zero in on that, that's the one I think we can look to kind of maximize that distance. And maybe even tie into the line that feeds that wetlands instead of actually discharging it overland.
Are you referring to this head wall?
Yeah. But
I don't think you have the grades for that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be too high.
because it jumps up.
This is at 83 right here.
All right. Sorry. So I'm fibbing. All right. We'll look to see what we can do there. Even if we have to hold back the grades to get more distance, I think that's something we can do.
Okay. Rebecca, do you have any other questions about this part of the system?
Just real quick, and I know the information is there, I just don't have it in front of me. This receives water from where of the project site total? Is it? So I know the parking lot area goes the other direction. Where is this where is this coming from? I know it's there. I just thought it might be easier if you just told me right now.
Dave, do you want me to take this or?
Sure. I mean, you know it better, but I mean, you don't have to pull up all the plans either, just
No.
kind of walk them through it. But it's a driveway up to the upper campus, right?
Yep, so this portion of the driveway, this portion of the parking lot, and then the baseball field pitches this way to the swale where any runoff from the baseball field would be collected. And then there's a portion of the driveway down here that also gets picked up. But this does not connect to the portion of the upper campus. This is just the lower campus on this portion of the site.
Okay, thank you.
Does the commission have any other questions concerning this part of the system? Bill, did you have any questions or concerns about this part of the system?
Nope, none.
Jim, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna ask, where are the existing outfall points for the site the way it is right now?
There's one head wall that's over, yeah.
Just one right, that's doing what?
It's picking up the existing drainage from the parking lot.
The same
There's
thing that you just,
You can see there's catch basins here. And this follows it back.
so is there any discharge points along the edge of the BBW that are existing?
This all drains to the wetland. There's a swale right here. You can kind of see it. It says ditch
Yeah.
on the survey. But there's no existing head wall.
There's no other, okay, that's fine, you know.
And the existing drain area to that head wall is just catch basins with deep sump basins and no other treatment, correct?
Correct. There's no water quality on those at all.
Okay.
From the era they were installed, I'd say they're catch basins with sumps,
Okay.
maybe not deep sumps.
Any other questions concerning this part of the system? All right, is there anything else you want to share with us tonight, David?
No, again, just looking to solicit any of your opinions on some of these specific, any specifics on some of these comments.
Yeah, I know we received a lot of information today. And I know some of us haven't had a chance to even review it. And, as Bill said, he is still working with you on the design of the system. And there have been a number of changes incorporated already. We don't have those particular plans yet, as they are still in progress. There was mention about the invasive species management, and I know that will probably be on for the next meeting. So there'll be more discussion about that. And let's see, anything else from the commission regarding this?
What is happening with the roundabout? Is that all designed now?
Well, again, with the roundabout, it's the town itself will be designing, building, and permitting that. So we're incorporating it into our design. We're meeting that design, but we're not designing it.
Okay.
Outside of what we've kind of shown.
Yep.
Anything else from the commission?
No.
All right, so again, there's still work going on behind the scenes with town engineer Bill Renault. In the applicant, there have been a number of changes made. Already, we don't have all those changes to review or look at. So there probably isn't much else to talk about regarding stormwater at this point. Are there any questions from the public before we move on? All right, we're going to move on to our next topic on the agenda. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance and participation.
I don't know how real this is, but he says there's some project that he might hire me for to do. And
Oh, excuse me, somebody. Please identify yourself for the record.
I think that was someone just joining and not asking a question, Bob.
Okay.
Hi, Bob. This is Doug Heath.
Yes, Doug.
Yes, hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
I really appreciate meeting with Bill, Renault, and Tim this morning at Town Hall to discuss my comments and reservations regarding Dave's HydroCAD model. I also appreciate receiving this afternoon Bill's responses to my earlier letters and also Bob Brooks' letter of March 20th. I have since sent questions to all of you, to Bill and the Concom members to consider, and would appreciate hearing from you in the near future. And I think they're largely self-explanatory. But thanks for the opportunity to both get and receive comments.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, we are going to move on to our next topic. Anybody's welcome to stay on if they prefer. If not, good night, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Rebecca, I'll just give it a minute or so.
I can let you know that the tree removal request will not be heard tonight.
41 Coolidge Park, correct?
Yeah, we haven't received the arborist letter yet, so we'll just keep pushing that to the next meeting.
Okay, thanks. And I will say that actually 10 Broadway, we don't have a file number, has been postponed per the request of the applicant to April 4th. Again, that's 10 Broadway. It has been postponed per the applicant to April 4th, if there's anybody here for that. All right. Next up is DEP 313574. It's 0 Greenwood Street. It's a request for a minor modification. Is the applicant here?
Yes, I am here. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Can I share my my screen?
Yes, please do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick refresher. I'm proposing a small single-family home on a 3.5 acre lot. I'm using just a corner of the lot due to topography and stream and all that good stuff. And just to refresh the commission on the process that I went through, we've been through this a few times, and throughout the different various meetings, I've shrunken the actual portion of the basement down to about 600 square feet, and everything else is elevated. And I've put in swales to capture roof runoff, even though it's not required on a single family home. I've doing a 2-to-1 tree replacement wherever I can find space, and various plantings to increase support the habitat in the area. So I'm not asking for any increased space or changing of any location or anything like that. I'm I'm asking for the ability to just use standard footers and frost columns instead of the helical piers. I had previously proposed helical piers because it's generally a less kind of I guess it requires less alteration of the land per se. But after consulting with a geotechnical engineer and actual vendors of the helical piers, and I explained to them the makeup of the soil conditions on my site, meaning there's a lot of rocks and potential ledge, and they raised some concerns about the viability of utilizing helical piers. Once again, the only reason why I proposed that is because it would have been less, I guess, invasive to the land, just to alter the land. I'm asking for a minor modification to just go back with standard footers and frost posts, which is similar to what a normal house would use for a footer and a basement. And so it does require a little bit more of digging at these locations, but I will be utilizing precast items. So the digging would be short term, and then I would be backfilling, and then all that would remain on the surface would be the top of the frost posts, and that's what the majority of the house would sit on. So the design stays the same, everything stays the same. It's just that the technology is just different. And so, yeah, that's all I'm asking for.
So you'd be replacing the piers with standard footings.
Yep. Footings and frost walls that would conform to the standard 4 feet below, and something that is what 99% of homes are built on. Yep.
Do you have any erosion and sediment controls?
I will. Yes. There'll be a silt fence and hay bales along the border here.
Okay.
And the stockpiles will be limited to within here, so it won't be anywhere close to down here. So anything I dig up, I'm actually only going down 2 feet and up 2 feet. Okay, so if you see, this is the only, for the basement proper, I'm going down 2 feet and up 2 feet. Of course, wherever I need the posts, I do need to get below the frost line so that there's no frost heaves. But once again, that will be a minor process because I'll have everything precast, and it's just a matter of digging, putting down some gravel, putting down the precast, and then backfilling. So, the process overall, I could possibly do within 1 day. Yep.
So these will be individual excavations rather than continuous trench?
Correct. Yep, they're individual. Yep. So I would be doing one at a time. Yep.
Okay.
The material that's excavated, will it need to be removed off site?
No, I don't expect it to be, because the lot slopes downward towards the stream.
Okay.
And so this area naturally will be lower than here, and I'm already going to have to come up, so I need to go above, at least a foot above the street level for kind of the natural sloping away from the building along the front here and along the sides, and the back already is going to be lower, so I need that extra material to kind of get me the 4 feet of coverage for the footers along the back side of this basement. So I don't anticipate having to remove anything, and I don't anticipate having to bring in any extra land.
How do you propose to stabilize that material that you lay back down?
Got it. So, I mean, I definitely could compact it. Are you talking about around the frost post or around the basement proper?
Around the basement proper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so this area over here will be covered, right? And yeah, you know, I could definitely compact it and you know, the grading generally moving away from the building wherever there's exposed to rain is where there'll be kind of an angled you know, grade from high to low. On the back here, since it's covered, there won't be so much of a requirement worry about rainwater, you know, kind of collecting around the basement. But I you know, there's definitely going to be enough space underneath here where we can get underneath there with one of those you know, manual compactors to kind of compact the soil.
Okay. Yeah, you may want to put some crushed stone on top of it or something like that also.
Got it.
It's just going to be, you know, it's going to be so you get a raised deck, right? But the area is 64.3. That'll actually be the house will be over there.
Yeah. Yep. From here
Okay.
to here is the house. Yep. So I'd say about let's say close to about 60% of the house is raised. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I would think it probably at least under the deck you'd want some crushed stone or something just to keep it from you know, the water is going to go through the deck boards and all that and keep it from eroding and
Got it. Well, yeah, even this area is going to be covered, right? So so yeah, this whole thing is covered actually.
completely
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah, it's all covered. Yep.
So
And-
where it says raised deck though, there'll be deck boards with gaps between them, correct?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
But above that is actually like a second floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's totally covered.
Okay.
Yep. So the actual square footage of the first floor is about 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And then the square footage on the second floor is about 1,700 square feet.
Are those frost posts going where the helical piers were going to go? Same
Yes.
locations?
Correct. Yep. And I actually have a picture of what those would look like. So let me share that.
Is this a newer plan? Because the one I'm looking at
It's the same one.
doesn't look exactly.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this
That's
one.
my-
It's okay.
I'm
Are you looking at the one I sent you?
Yeah.
There was a modification done in July 28th of 22. That's one I should have sent you. That's my mistake.
But
So the
yeah,
one he has is the minor modification, the one he has up on the screen.
okay, let me see if I can pull up the other one. Just the diagram of the frost post. Okay, here we go. So this is a typical precast frost post that I'm proposing here. So the top, you'd only see kind of this section, and everything is covered. I'll jump back to the other one. Sorry. Okay. Yep. So
So basically, we're here to just see if he wants to instead of putting the helicoils in, just dig a little hole and put a footing.
Yes. Yep.
There-
And a frost wall too.
What's that?
It's not a wall per se. It's just a footer.
All right, so there is no frost wall.
No. There's
Okay.
no wall connecting these things. No.
Okay,
It's just what you saw was the frost post and then the footer. Yep.
And those posts are around 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet at the bottom.
Yeah. Yep. And that's primarily to
Spread the load. Yep.
yeah, just to handle the load. Yeah.
does anybody have any concerns calling this a minor modification?
I don't. I think it's really just a substitution.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
All right, so would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to
Is there
accept
a
it as a minor modification.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yeah, yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa. Oh, you're muted. Teresa.
Sorry, yes.
And I also vote yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Have a great night.
You
Thank you.
too.
Bye-bye.
All right, Rebecca, do you have anything else for us?
I sent you guys some of the updates on the open space plan, right? I think I finally got the 3 bids for the title examinations of tax title properties. So I contacted the lowest one today to try to get a contract in. Hopefully that'll be done soon, and Steve May will sign that. We can get that process going.
Yay.
Yay.
Who was the lowest bid?
Novicki, Bill Novicki, his name was. I'll forward it to you guys once Steve May was going to sign it, but once I get that detail, I can certainly share that with you guys.
And okay, I was just, do they do it by property? How do they price it?
Okay, so I sent them a list of 85 parcels, some of which I had the book and page for, and they did, I think 2 of them assumed a certain price per parcel and gave me a lump sum. And then the third one had a lot of details and information and questions and caveats and possibilities and et cetera, et cetera. I forwarded it to Tom Mullen and he said, just assume that's the highest price one. So we went with the lowest. So
And that's a not to exceed figure, right? It's not gonna be any more than that.
yes, town council, I think, only approved a certain amount. I don't, like I said, that'll have to be in the contract. I haven't seen.
I'm sorry, I'm asking you all these details. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Good questions, because then I'll think of it when I look at it again. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like there was something I sent you guys the offshoots information. And you guys want to wait. They're not available till she's very busy. So not till the summer, I think it was. You guys are cool with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that'll work out better.
You do? Okay.
Well, it'll mesh up with the open space plan.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the forum will be done and it might be a nice segue.
Okay. Trying to think of what else. We have 5 volunteers for trail stewardship.
Rebecca, did you get one
Good.
recently?
I'm sorry, say again?
Did you get one within the last couple of days?
No.
Okay, because someone was asking me about it.
Okay.
On Sunday, I gave him your information yesterday, but
No, not yet, but I'm sure it'll come in. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
They're gonna come to to the meeting on the second meeting in April. The people that have applied to be trail stewards. So the commission can look at their applications, make their appointments, meet them.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that too.
And do
So
you
the
have,
oth-
do you have the release from Tom Mullen?
Yep, that was sent to them.
Great.
I did want to mention that any comments they have and their reporting that they're going to submit will go to the commission's mailbox. So if you can straighten out who's going to check the emails, that would be great, because I don't know that there'll be a lot of emails, maybe initially, but I don't think it's something that should be put on to Rebecca, given her. And it's not something that she's supposed to be checking, because the emails are to be directed to the commission, not to Rebecca. So it's not something that she should be checking anyways.
I did go through all the emails last weekend,
You're awesome.
and
Motion to.
it's something that I cannot continue to do.
Yeah.
Retract my motion.
Yeah, I'll train somebody else to do that.
What's the order of magnitude? How many emails were there, Bob?
I think there's over 400.
Oh my God.
But how many were junk?
Junk, not a ton, maybe 100.
But they weren't all comments from the public or question, or were they?
Well, almost every one of them had copied, Rebecca and or Elaine
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Bill and all, there were very, very few that were just to the commission. Very
Yeah.
few. So yeah, I deleted all the junk.
What were they asking? What did they ask? What were they looking for
It's
information?
pretty much all the letters that we've been forwarded already by, Rebecca and Elaine.
Yeah.
It had copied the Conservation Commission also.
Oh, so it's not for the volunteers for the tree, for what you're saying, just monitoring that email in general, because it's copied, things that are sent to Rebecca, are just also included.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's also like invites to different Chamber of Commerce meetings and things of that nature. But I didn't see anything for Trail Steward specific that were just to conservation, and I didn't see really much of anything that was just to conservation and wasn't already copying Rebecca.
So in general, can I just ask this question? Who was monitoring that email in the past?
I went through it probably a couple months ago and went through a few hundred emails, and then I did it again this weekend.
So you is the answer, Bob.
I am
Bob does it all.
I am one of them, but like I said, I cannot continue to do it. It's crazy. I get about 80 emails at work a day. We're a 7-day building, 24 hours.
I'll stop those, Bob. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, between that and my own email, I just can't keep up with it on a real-time basis.
Yeah.
What if you rotated?
Right, I was gonna say the same thing, Judy.
Everyone can take a month.
I mean, it deserves the attention, on a regular basis. And I failed miserably on doing that.
I don't think so.
So Bob, how many of those did you actually have to respond to? I mean, you had to read them to know that no response was needed, but how many did you actually respond to?
I forwarded a few, responded to a few. But again, 90-something% had already had Rebecca copied on them.
Who did you forward it to?
I sent a couple to Jimmy. I think I may have sent a couple to Rebecca.
You
either
have in the
this time or last time. Huh?
Yeah, you have in the past, and not recently, but I do
Yeah.
remember you getting like a couple public comments that you forwarded to me about
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
someone saw some dumping in such
Yeah.
and such an
All right.
area.
So I agree with Judy. I think we should try to rotate it.
All right. All right, everyone pick a month. I'll write it down.
Just put together a schedule, Rebecca, and send it out.
I'll take the 13th month.
So Bob, how much time did what was the time span of the 400 emails?
Probably a couple of months, 2-3 months.
Okay, so you're looking at maybe 200 emails or fewer than 200 emails a month then.
Probably. And
So
again,
if you
there's
try to
a-
check it every week, it might be more manageable.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
To do
rotating.
it on a weekly
Yeah.
basis, it would be more manageable.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
nothing that I can't do it at work. There's absolutely no way. And yeah,
And I assume a lot of those are NEMT emails right now too.
quite a bit. But again, Rebecca was copied on, I think, every one
Right,
of
and
them.
those can go away. Okay.
So, I think, I like this, Rebecca, you could pick, I think putting a schedule together and just,
So I'll give you each a month.
Yeah, just do it, Rand. Yeah, just do it.
Okay.
So there is a process. It is Outlook.
yeah, how
And
do you get
I can
to it?
forward, there is an account name and there is a password, which I can forward the information to whoever the next person is.
Okay. Or you just put it on the website.
Expedite things.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll take care of that privately.
So the open space plan committee met last week, our second meeting. And the consultants have done a draft of the plan. It's the work they've done has been great. Any comment we've had, anything like the Healthy Soils Action Plan, they worked that in. It's starting to really look good. So the committee members are all going to review it, submit comments by March 31st. And then the consultants, and you all have it. And if you have any comments, just send them to myself and Rebecca. And we'll forward them along, and then they'll incorporate into one document. So the first public forum is going to be Thursday, April 27th. It's via Zoom at 7 o'clock. And after that, there'll be a survey. And the consultants also putting together survey questions that they find appropriate based on the feedback we've given them. It will be limited to probably 10 questions, just to simplify things, because there've been so many surveys with the master plan process. They'll be distributed, the forms will be at Town Hall, the library, Council on Aging, and the Council on Aging is going to put the survey information in their main newsletter as well. So there should be some pretty good distribution. And then the survey will be open for about a month. And then there'll be a second public forum in the summer. And I mean, it's going to be a pretty quick process, hopefully wrapping up around October-ish.
That sounds great, Judy.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, things are moving along. And the MBTA communities overlay. The commission is not on that committee, but I'm going to put together some comments. Some things I pulled out of the Healthy Soils Action Plan about density of native plantings in more densely sited properties, and especially where one of the areas targeted is Greenwood. Even if it's not within a jurisdictional area, I think it's still vitally important to have not only native plants, but also wetland loving plants, because everything's piped under there. It's all relevant to wetlands. So I want to put that on their radar. And hopefully they'll take a look at my comments. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Anything else, Judy?
Nope. Thank you.
Rebecca, do you have anything else?
Nope, just I got a quick email from the Eagle Scout and he asked for a plan showing some trails. So hopefully he's moving forward with that, because that'll be great. I can't really think of too much more.
What was the trail area that he's going to look at?
the JJ round.
Oh,
and go
right, right.
through all that emerald necklace space there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent him a plan today that showed one of the trails on it. So hopefully that'll move forward.
Great.
I just have one more thing I forgot about. The
Sure.
lot at Maple Way that the commission was talked about for the land swap for the
Yeah.
energy park. I had mentioned it to Julie Galvin at the last land use subcommittee meeting of environmental sustainability, and she was going to look into it. And apparently it was discussed, and it's felt that if the commission wishes to have it under their care and custody or some type of restriction, similar to what was done with the Holland Road Antrim property, that the commission should put forth an article for the November town meeting. And I think that's a good idea. But Rebecca's suggestion, which I think is perfect, was to wait to see what comes out of the approval process. It hasn't been determined yet if it's going to be accepted by the state. So once that's determined, I mean, it's not difficult to put an article together. There'd have to be a couple of public hearings, and then it could go on the November town meeting, if that's what you're interested in.
That makes sense. I wonder how long it'll take the state to get back on the energy block. Who knows?
I wouldn't think it would be too long.
Well, so you have to get a vote of the legislature, right? To approve it.
Yes, yeah.
And again, they made it sound like they had the votes already,
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Based on the comments that have been tossed around. Which is fine. I just like there to see actual protection for that lot.
No, that's great. So
Yeah,
Julie made it
agreed.
sound like it's something that the town council would support, Judy, or?
She would, I know.
Okay.
Some of the comments that I've seen at their meetings, a couple are more interested in retaining it in case they wanted to build on it.
Right. Remember that it was what, 15, 20 years ago, they're talking about putting more athletic fields there.
But the issue is access, right, Bob?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Maple Way, the current parking lot would be a little difficult handling all that additional.
It would be impossible, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough now with softball or
Right.
whatever else is going on down there.
And I think the changes in town where there's been more development, I think it may be a more palatable issue for people to get around.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, and I did speak to Eric Sherman in engineering about the possibility of the engineering department using more green stormwater, rain gardens, green streets, things like that. I sent him information on that Vermont Green Streets program and the Healthy Soils Action Plan, and he said he'd look at it. And so, I mean, it may go nowhere, but at least it's on their radar now.
Again, that's great, Judy. So I'm sorry, I want to get back. The energy park, will we be notified of the legislature's approval of that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wonder how.
I mean, I would think Mike McCarthy would, as a courtesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would notify the commission.
Didn't they tell us that they needed our approval as part of the
No, they
town
didn't.
package?
They don't. No, this is the opposite, Paul. They said they're not. They don't really care about it.
Right.
They didn't ask for it, yeah.
Well, initially
Oh,
they
thanks.
did, and then they said enough already.
Yeah, I thought we heard initially that they had to have our unanimous.
According,
approval.
under the new statute, they do, and under the policy, they do. But the policy that's in effect, they need the unanimous approval, but it wasn't law. It's a policy of DEP. It's not law because it didn't become effective law until after they did this.
Okay.
So, and I think
So they're getting it under a grandfathering of under the old law.
under the old way, because they think
Okay.
it's a policy, not law.
Mm.
And I think
That's clear. Thanks.
yeah. So that's how it's happening.
All right, Judy, anything else?
Nope, thank you.
Okay.
Rebecca, that parcel of land where they want to put the station, Is that on your list of lands that, are under the control of of town council or someone else, some other board?
You're talking about the one, that town-owned parcel that the energy park will be sited on?
Where, on Hemlock Road? Where we
Yeah,
look-
you're asking- Are you asking if that's shown in the open space plan?
Yes.
Judy, is that shown in the open space plan? I think it probably is.
It is, but it's, is it owned by the light department?
No. I think
No,
it's,
it's owned by the town.
yeah, I think it was under the selectmen when the deed was written.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Okay.
on a different note, on Thursday, I'm meeting with the representatives for the 200 Quantapowhat. They have their 100% drawings in. Just gonna look them over real quick.
Oh,
And yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Rick, I interrupted you. Finish.
That's okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what was the upshot? I agree with Paul about the monitoring, the environmental monitor. Did you get back to them that was okay?
No, that was gonna be my next question.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, so they just have 100% drawings now. So we're just gonna look over, they're gonna run me through what the differences are, and then they're gonna submit those drawings so we have them on file. And obviously, if there's anything that we need to address, I will let you guys know.
They went back to the ZBA for minor modification. You saw
They
that.
did.
Yeah.
Nope, I didn't know, but that's probably what this is about. So I'll let you guys know what that change is. And then the next one was whether or not you guys were comfortable with the environmental monitor being the
Same
consultant.
company, right.
Yeah. So pluses and minuses, I think probably to both. So it's up to you guys, but if you have a thought on that I can direct them and let them know on Thursday.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I agree with Paul. I mean, Libby does it all the time.
Okay.
Are you talking about Quantapowhat Parkway?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob, keep up.
I'm kind of bouncing around a bit here.
That's
The
Goddard,
ZBA, the changes were, I did read the comments in the paper, some island changes,
Right.
some landscape feature plants, replacements and changes. They all seem pretty minor.
I'm sure they would have come back to us if it affected us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it. I've given you the ZBA comments that I have. I'll keep doing that if you guys like to get them. And
You do a lot of those, Rebecca.
Say again?
You do a lot of those.
I do a lot of those. Yeah. I have about 3 more sitting on my desk right now. And I think that's it. So I'm going to tell them when I see them on Thursday that we're comfortable with Goddard being the environmental monitor. Okay.
Yep.
And I don't have anything else.
All righty.
Does anybody else have anything? When Rebecca picks the next person to do the email, I will forward instructions to that person with the account name and
So
password.
why don't you want to just forward it to all of us, Bob?
I could do that too.
Because that person has to remember to give it to the next person. It's too much. Too much.
Chain of command.
Hey, do we have to have Outlook on our computer to be able
Chain
to
of custody and
access?
chain of command. What's that?
Do we have to have Outlook on our computers to access these or?
No.
Okay, good, because I don't anymore.
Oh, nice try, Paul. No, you don't have to have it.
Is the motion to adjourn appropriate?
Yes, it is.
I make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sure. All right, Jen's got it.
All in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
And before I vote yes, Jim, I put that geological information back in your mailbox.
Oh, thank you. I was wondering where it came from.
That was me. And I also vote yes. So good night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Okay. Night. Take care.
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night, all.